The Garden of Eden in Book 4 of Paradise Lost should seem familiar to you because it's a lot like the Garden of Adonis in in Canto 6 of Book 3 of the Fairy Queen. Here, Book 4 from line 131. Satan has been traveling through Earth and he's come to Eden to make trouble. So on he fares into the border comes of Eden, where delicious paradise, now nearer, crowns with her enclosure green, as with a rural mound the champaign head of a steep wilderness, whose hairy sides with thicket overgrown, grotesque and wild, access denied. And overhead upgrew insuperable height of loftiest shade, cedar and pine and fir, and branching palm, a sylvan scene, and as the ranks ascend shade above shade, a woody theatre of stateliest view. Yet higher than their tops the verdurous wall of paradise upsprung, which to our general sire gave prospect large of his nether empire neighbouring round. And higher than that wall a circling row of goodliest trees, loaden with fairest fruit, blossoms and fruits at once of golden hue appeared with gay enamelled colours mixed, on which the sun more glad impressed his beams than in the fair evening cloud or humid bow, when God has showered the earth. So lovely seemed that landscape. This is a place before time in the seasons where it is simultaneously spring and fall, fruit and flower. This was also true in the Garden of Adonis. This is the place where our general sire, Adam here is the general sire, the father of everyone generally, can look around to his nether empire, and there is endless fruit and fertility. And as with Spencer, it's a little sexual. Whereas it's like we have a big thicketed mound. Again, if you haven't read Freud, you're in college, so you've read someone who's read someone who's read Freud, and you should see the kind of anatomical comparison that's being drawn. And this is a place of fertility. We're finally going to get some sex in this poem, not just the terrible sex that happened before the poem started between Satan and sin. We're going to meet Adam and Eve, our actual hero and heroine, and they turn out to be extremely impressive. They are, before they are fallen, they are more godlike than human. In book 9, Satan will think, yeah, I don't really want to fight Adam. He's very buff, and also because he isn't fallen, he's invulnerable to wound, and because I'm fallen, I'm not. So I don't actually want to go toe to toe with an unfallen Adam. On a on From book 4, about line 287, he's from this Assyrian garden where the fiend saw undelighted all delight. It's beautiful, and he looks at it, he's not happy. The mind is its own place, and he's brought his hell with him. He sees happiness and beauty, and he's upset about it. All kind of living creatures new to sight and strange. Two of far nobler shape, erect and tall, godlike erect, with native honor clad in naked majesty, seemed lords of all. And worthy seemed, for in their looks divine the image of their glorious Maker shone. Truth, wisdom, sanctitude severe and pure, severe, but in true filial freedom placed, whence a true authority in men, though both not equal, as their sex not equal seemed. Okay. Many people will say that Milton is a sexist. They will say this because Milton is a sexist. Some people will say Milton believes in the hierarchy of the genders. He believes that men are intrinsically superior to women and ought to be. This is no more something I want to put forward to you than I want to put forward to you his religious beliefs. This belief has not aged well. Very clever Milton scholars will go through and try to find subtle ways where he redeems Eve. But we should be upfront, especially if we're meeting Milton for the first time. There is a radical belief in female inferiority. Eve is lesser than Adam in every way, except prettier, which is itself problematic. She's a weaker but sexier human being. John. Gee, John, why did you and your first wife not get along. Um, and she is to blame. Milton does not invent the tradition which blames Eve for the fall, but he certainly runs with it very heavily. They're not equal as their sex not equal seemed. For contemplation he in valor formed, for softness she in sweet attractive grace. Adam is created for contemplation and valor, for war and for heroism, physical heroism, and philosophy. She for softness and sweet attractive grace. He for God only, she for God in him. He has a relationship with God, she has a relationship to Adam, who has a relationship to God. Okay, she is further down the hierarchy all along. It is, Satan is very invested in hierarchy, but he's also interested in messing up God's hierarchy, so he's going to go for Eve. And the pitch he's going to make to her in book 9 is, wouldn't you like to flip around? Wouldn't you like to be greater than Adam? Satan knows how that appeal works because it worked, and he sold that story to himself. His large fair front and eyes sublime declared absolute rule, and hyacinthine locks from his parted forelock manly hung, clustering, but not beneath his shoulders broad. She as a veil down to her the slender waist, her unadorned golden tresses wore dishevelled, but in wanton ringlets waved as the vine curls her tendrils, which implied subjection, but required with gentle sway, and by her yielded, by him best received, yielded with coy submission, modest pride, and sweet, reluctant, amorous delay. Nor were those mysterious parts were then concealed. Then was not guilty shame, dishonest shame of nature's works, honor dishonorable, sin bred. How have you troubled all mankind with shows instead, mere shows of seeming pure, and banished from man's life his happiest life, simplicity and spotless innocence. They're naked, and Milton wants to, it's okay, nothing's hidden, because they have nothing to feel ashamed about. They have no sinful thoughts. They are pre-moral. They lack the knowledge of good and evil. They have no sin, so they're naked, and it's fine. This is also biblical from the book of Genesis. And he's like, they have nothing. In Milton's position, he will stop in editorials. They have nothing to be ashamed of. Sex is fine. Sex is natural. In fact, Milton will go out of the way to make clear that our happy couple is having sex. That they go into the bower and they're having sex as they are meant to do. That sex itself is not sinful. That there is sex before the fall, but it's only positive. It's a great thing. Everything good about sex is already there before the fall, and they're just having the good parts. There's no guilt, there's no shame, there's no nastiness, there's nothing they feel conflicted about. They are in no way using each other or dehumanizing each other. It's just a happy kumbaya sexual moment. Where in fact, and rose petals falling from the bowers, and because it's paradise, the rose petals just grew right back. Line 736, they go to bed. This said unanimous, and other rites observing none but adoration pure, which God likes best, into their inmost bower handed they went, and eased the putting off those troublesome disguises we wear, straight side by side were laid. They don't have to undress these troublesome disguises we do, because we are here. The fact we're wearing clothes is because we're dirty and guilty and can't be at ease with our own sexuality. Adam and Eve are not hung up like we are because they don't have any bad thoughts, so they don't have to slow down getting undressed. They're dressed as themselves. Nor turned, I ween, Adam from his fair spouse, nor Eve the rites mysterious of connubial love refused. Whatever hypocrites austerely talk of purity and place and innocence, defaming as impure what God declares pure and commands to some, leaves free to all, our Maker bids increase. Who bids abstain but our destroyer, foe to God and man? Hail, wedded love, mysterious law, true source of human offspring, sole propriety in paradise of all things common else. By thee adulterous lust was driven from men among the bestial herds to range. By thee, founded in reason, loyal, just, and pure, relations dear, and all the charities of father, son, and brother first were known. Far be it that I should write thee sin or blame, or think the unbefitting holiest place, perpetual fountain of domestic sweets, whose bed is undefiled and chaste pronounced, present or past, as saints and patriarchs used. Here love his golden shafts employs, here lights his constant lamp and waves his purple rings, reigns here and revels, not in the bought smile of harlots, loveless, joyless, unendeared, casual fruition, nor in court amours, mixed dance or wanton mask of midnight ball or serenade, which the starved lover sings to his proud fair, best quitted with disdain. These, lulled by nightingales, embracing slept, and on their naked limbs the flowery roof showered roses, which the morn repaired. There, it's sex in paradise. No guilt, no like no dating, no prompt dating, none of this, no gross sexiness, no seduction, no coquetry, none of that. They're just having sex. Hail wedded love, and it's a beautiful, just appropriate thing. Milton is, by 21st centuries, a huge sexist. He is deeply patriarchal. On the other hand, he believes profoundly in marriage. Perversely, one of the ways we know how much he values marriage is because he wrote a bunch of polemics during the interwar year, between the Civil War and the Restoration, on divorce. Milton was way ahead of his time in arguing that people should be divorced if they're not emotionally and intellectually compatible. He argues that you have to be married to be really married. You have to have an emotional bond and emotional companionship. Adam is presented throughout this poem as first and foremost a loving and loyal husband, that the only excuse made for either of them to eat the apple is Adam's, because we're a little sexist here, so Adam gets the excuse. His excuse is his loyalty to his spouse, his taking for better or worse all the way. Milton doesn't believe men and women are equal, but he also believes that marriage has to be between intellectual equals or near enough equals. There has to be emotional conversation. At the center of this epic poem, we have a married couple. Yes, they haven't gone through a ceremony, but they have been joined together by God. So for Milton, that would do it. And before the fall, their relationship is wonderful. It is perfect. Eve is going to take some of the blame for the fall. What is wrong with Eve? Well, one of the things that's wrong with Eve is that like Satan, and this is what she shares with them, like Satan, she is distracted by appearance and wants to move up in the hierarchy. From line about 450, she wakes up. She recounts being created, waking up, not seeing anybody. Actually, line 450. I first awaked and found myself reposed under a shade of flowers, much wondering where and what I was, whence hither brought, and how. She wakes up. Where am I? What am I? Not even who am I? What am I? How did I get here? The basic philosophical questions. Not distant far from thence a murmuring sound of waters issued from a cave and spread into a liquid plain, then stood unmoved, pure as the expanse of heaven. I thither went with unexperienced thought, and laid me down on the green bank to look into the clear, smooth lake that to me seemed another sky. She's found a clear pool, it's reflecting, it looks like another sky to her, she looks in. As I bent down to look, just opposite, a shape within the watery gleam appeared, bending to look on me. I started back. It started back. But pleased, I soon returned. Pleased it returned as soon with answering looks of sympathy and love. There I had fixed mine eyes till now, and pined with vain desire, had not a voice thus warned me. What there thou seest, fair creature, is thyself. With thee it came and goes, but follow me, and I will bring thee where no shadow stays thy coming and thy soft embraces. He whose image thou art, him thou shalt enjoy inseparably thine, to him shalt bear multitudes like thyself, and thence be called mother of human race. What could I do but follow straight, invisibly thus led? At first, Eve is smitten with her reflection. This is a dangerous sign. She is like Narcissus, the first narcissist, in love with the reflection. She is brought by a divine voice to Adam instead, but till I espied thee fair indeed and tall under a platen, yet methought less fair, less winning soft, less amiably mild than that smooth watery image. Back I turned, thou falling presage. Return, fair Eve, whom thou fliest, of him thou art, his flesh, his bone, to give thee being I lent out of my side to thee nearest my heart, substantial life to have thee by my side, henceforth an individual solace dear. Part of my soul I seek thee, and thee claim my other half. With that thy gentle hand seized mine, I yielded, and from that time see how beauty is excelled by manly grace and wisdom, which alone is truly fair. Okay, but that first reaction was, she sees that, it's like, I really want to go back to the reflection. The reflection was prettier. I liked the reflection better. Now, of course, I see wisdom and manly grace is superior to good looks, but her first impulse was not that. Her first impulse was the soft attractiveness of herself, of her own reflection. And that self love is the psychological key to her downfall. That self regard and the love of the seeming instead of the thing itself, looking for outer signs instead of kind of inner truth, is where in Milton the downfall always